We, in the place of Ma'at, we anciently lived 42 divine principles. And we made these 42 declarations of righteousness. Not have I done wrong. Not have I despoiled. Not have I robbed. Not have I slain. Not have I defrauded the offerings. Not have I diminished oblations. Not have I despoiled the things of inter. Not have I spoken lies. Not have I wasted food. Not have I afflicted any. Not have I wasted my seed. Not have I made to weep. Not have I eaten my heart. Not have I transgressed. Not have I acted deceitfully. Not have I desolated the plowed land. Not have I been an eavesdropper. Not have I set my mouth in motion against any man. Not have I raged except with a cause. Not have I defiled the wife of a man. Not have I defiled the husband of a woman. Not have I polluted myself. Not have I caused terror. Not have I committed offense. Not have I inflamed myself with rage. Not have I made myself deaf to the words of right and truth. Not have I caused grief. Not have I acted insolently. Not have I stirred up strife. Not have I judged hastily. Not have I been an eavesdropper. Not have I spoken overmuch. Not have I harmed. Not have I done evil. Not have I cursed the king. Not have I fouled water. Not have I made my voice haughty. Not have I cursed the Creator. Not have I committed theft. Not have I defrauded the offerings of Interu. Not have I carried off the offerings from the beatified one. Not have I wasted food of the infant. Not have I sinned against the inter of the town. Not have I slaughtered animals. These 42 oracles of Ma'at were the basis from which Moses received the 10 Commandments when he went to school in the temples of Anu, in the Kemetic nation of Tawi, in the Nile Valley, in the land now miscalled Egypt.
Continent with Mutabaruka. We are listening to our meds. You know here. Continent.
Okay, people.
The end.
This is wrong.
The end.
Yeah, this is the Continent, and I reckon Mir Isaacs give me a problem. Mir Isaacs give me a problem. This is the Continent. We have it next Wednesday. Them call this Wednesday the day before Holy Thursday, and the day before Bad Friday, and the day before Easter. You know, it's one of the most auspicious time in the Christian calendar. But we're going to continue the journey. Yeah, we're going to continue the journey now. So, make we go here, as we say, cutting edge, get on your radio. All right. Oops. Some people are talk about the 5,000. Hey, one of the things that $5,000 can't do nothing on tour with people. Want to shut up on the mouth. One of the things that $5,000 ain't any money for artists get. You know, long artists that go up on the road and not get no artist support sometime. Especially when you're not a record company and back you. $5,000 joke money on tour. Trust me, $5,000 joke money on tour. So, we have an album here where we want to feature. We have to feature this album here, and trust me, anytime you hear we play this album here, you know what today I want? In a March, me personally feel said this album here, I will get a nomination in the next Grammy next year. I think it's a very classical reggae artist, reggae album combination, and we want to play some tracks from this album. Yeah, we have to play some tracks. We want to give thanks for Sly to give us this album. Havana meets Kingston. You know the album name, Havana meets Kingston. So for a year, you know, say it's Cuban meet Jamaican on the album. And we want to hear up Bongo Herman. Because I remember when Bongo Herman did go away for go do this album, yeah, him tell me, say, him come back and bring some serious Cuban music for it. So we want to hear up Bongo Herman who play upon this album, yeah. with Sly and Robbie and my brethren. I tell you. All right, so I could play some tracks from this album here. And tell me if you don't love this album here. It's off the wall. Trust me. Reggae. Cuban music. Havana meets Kingston. You know, see that album I jump out for me, you know. May I tell you, it jump out for me. Believe you me. We love it. Love the difference, love the rootical version of it, and love the Spanish. And you have English version of it, you have English artists that sing Spanish too. I mean, when I say English artists, I mean Jamaican artists who, you know, so we do the English and the Jamaican language too. But may I tell you, me love it. I mean, it go blow up, it go explode. It go explode. We're no back loser. It go explode.
The tree is known by its fruits. There's no life in lies. It's all in the truth.
This is the Cutting Edge. We just play a new album, CD, I should say, by a group of Cuban musicians and some Jamaican musicians called Havana meets Kingston. Listen. Yeah, sweet instrumental music, man. May I tell you, I love instrumental true music. You know, it's a big deal to have a program on a station, yeah, where we play pure instrumental music in the slot where it lasts. I think it was like 4 hours, just like this. Pure instrumental music. Instrumental music. No debate again in a Jamaica. Because I don't know if the computer can take bridge and go round car and come back round. Oh gosh, man. Give thanks for good music, Jamaican music. We keep in the vein of the roots of the Jamaican music. Very rootical. Yeah, man. We love it when it stays away there. Okay, so we did I tell you about the Easter vibes and you know, say you keep repeating a lie continuously, it almost become like the lie become like a truth. Because so much people say it, you feel say it's true. And when you look on who I say it, sometimes it's almost like, well, if them I say it, whosoever I say, like all me, I know I say nothing no go so. You know, so most people in Jamaica really don't believe in Easter. Most of the Christian denomination, them don't celebrate Easter because the biggest one is 7 days. And them don't know, them don't deal with the Easter thing. Easter was handed down to us by Rome. We've been saying that for 2 weeks, you know. The problem where people don't recognize is that, as we are saying, if you keep saying something over and over and over, if you're not think for yourself, you start to actually believe what you hear continuously. And because you hear it so much time, you say it must right. You know, it's like when we say the 12th of December, no have nothing to do with no man named Jesus in the earth. Yeshua, whatsoever much people want to call it, Jesus Christus. But because it is celebrated all over the world in that way, it's like people now, I try to twist it around and I say, them never really say Jesus born on that day there. But we know say that them did that say continuously over the years. But because people are wake up to certain things now, them start to show you, say, well, it's not really born, you know, but you know, you have to have a day. And then when you realize that in that now, you start to say, well, you have to have a day where families sit down and give gifts to each other. Oh, really? So now we come to this Easter time, you know. For my Christian friend, them who are listening to this thing, you know, because sometimes when we are talking on the radio, you know, Christian, them listen to me, you know, but them cock them ears and listen. But we know why you really cock your ears and listen, because when I tell you nothing, if you say, boy, right now, we are degrade or downgrade, nothing. We are say, this is a reality, this is a truth, And if you really believe in the truth, you have to appreciate it when you hear it, unless you want to stay in ignorance. Now, when me a youth, I go to church. And when me grow big, me hear say Jesus Christ dead and 3 nights and 3 days I'm supposed to stay. And then I'm going to raise. On the 3rd day, him shall raise. On the 3rd day. So, the reason why them say Good Friday, for some unfortunate reason, them say Good Friday. Because I hear some Christians say it is good that our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ died for our sins. I don't know what is good about that. You must could have did something else rather than make your son a living sacrifice. Okay. So, according to the Bible, and my Christian friend them must tell me, say, if it's lie, me and tell her it's me just a conjure up that in my head through me a rasta. Right? Because we read the Bible. We read the Bible from Genesis 1 to Revelation 22 more than one time. We don't remember everything in it, but every time we talk, we remember the things that we want to talk about in it. Okay. Okay. All right. Because hey, this brother, hey, you called me for the wrong phone, brethren. You can call the radio station. When I call me for my phone, after my shout out, say, call me for the radio station phone. All right. All right, I could talk again. I'm going to ask where the radio station number now. All right. Since we did done, a week call him, you know. So, since we did call him, make we facilitate it before we talk about this thing, yeah. Make we see if we can line up our next tune, yeah. Make we line up our next tune and then see if we can give him the number for call and make we call him. Okay, here we go now. Clicking. You play a tune on the radio by a musician and you say, you send out the message, boy, call me, you know. And in less than 10 minutes, he might call me on the wrong phone, but him call me still. But we're going to find out, we're going to put him on the Jamaican radio and say, you can't get me on the, you can't get me on the radio, you can't come on the radio anytime you call me cell phone, you understand? So you have to do is you have to call the radio teacher if you want to go on the radio. All right. Sly.
Yeah, man. Yes, Muta.
Oh, you know, man?
Yeah, all right, man.
Well, I tell you, say, me listen to the album I drive on my car on the highway today, and I say, no, that album, a Grammy business, I go on here, so, again, for you. How much time you get nominated in a Grammy?
But I think around 13 times.
I only get the first Grammy.
First Grammy, Black Euro, we win it, yeah.
Black Euro, yeah. But, I say, no, it's a serious thing now. Last year earlier, about them time they didn't go to Cuba.
2 years ago, I think Bongo Roman.
Me remember, you know, Bongo Roman come back and give me a slow Cuban music, you know.
Yeah.
All right. So, who conceptualized this album? Are the Cuban them are who no?
No. There was a guy named Jake from Australia, you know.
From Australia?
Yeah, one time come to Jamaica. I was come to Jamaica and come to Jamaica one night and me and Bongo. Just to show him a tough gang. And 2 weeks after that, him called me and said, "I was idea and I think about Cuba." But remember, we used to do a Cuban thing called La Chengue.
Yeah. When we used to do that, like a vibe, there would be the man.
Yeah, like a vibe. So,
yeah.
kind of think it will come around that because when we did some interview actually the other day, most of the journalists about them remember, so we used to do something like this at Jamaica called La Chengue, some little Latin thing and thing. I say, yeah. The one with Drake now, Drake go to Cuba and get a real singers them to sing the Cuban, the Spanish language and the musicianship and the percussion to there. So when you listen to the Drake thing against me and Robbie and Bongo man play the reggae, it was fitting and the Cuban them was so confident on the rhythm. I can't believe it. Because when we play the rhythm, we kind of leave Cuba and come back to Jamaica and then into the production for and put on the vocals and everything. So we never hear the finished product until when we go to Australia there for the 5 shows.
Oh yeah? So you can't go to Australia and do it?
I mix it. I mix everything on it.
Mix it, yeah.
And finish the album.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Well, it's sweet, man. May I tell you?
And then there's a Jamaica, you find them Rod Valentine. In kind of talk the DJ thing, and I think another DJ, Jamaican DJ.
So you can fire them man in everybody at Cuba. Randy Valentine. Them
do the film thing out here.
Them do it out here?
Yeah, in Jamaica, yeah.
Sweet, man. May I tell you?
Yeah, man, I can't stop listening to the record. Trust me, this was the camera play for I listen to. I never listen to back none of my words, you know.
Eh?
Just don't do the whole thing and that's a picture of when the whole thing starts at Cuba when the room up today and the musicians get together. And when the finishing part had really come and listen, so really, oh boy, no, there's some magic, you know.
Well, it's so good. I'm going to tell you, say.
Yes, and German, Cuban, and play upon it and the answers and everything. Because the one we like, everybody like the one named Carnival. The second tune, funny, the body.
All right.
You will have to me about it.
All right, so you me I tell you. Early in the year, you know, we were there in March.
Yeah.
Next year, it's going to last 1 year continuously. We know, say, maybe, I'm not going to say, you know, at what spoil of things, but we know, say, the Jamaican airwaves is not really into this kind of reggae music. But we know, say, internationally, we are expected to do nice work internationally. It released in the world yet, or it just...
Yeah, about so. I think VP put it out.
Oh, VP?
Yeah.
But I know VP the on this back, yeah.
Yeah, man.
I wish copy
so
me get, you know. Me get a copy when I reach a VP yet.
In Australia.
Are the Australian copy me get?
Eh?
Are the Australian copy me get?
Yeah, it looks so.
Because we don't see VP right for this.
No.
All right, me give thanks for it still. It not released properly yet. I'm play it, so that is good.
Yeah, no, because we get to see that, Mr. Boy, a man like you are, Mikey Thompson, a real seat away, you know?
Yeah.
See what we really do with Bridge Cuba, Havana and Kingston together. I mean, we have played the reggae and never played the Latin thing. And when we have played live, you know, murder, you know.
Yeah.
We play by the on stage and sing.
So I want to do some live show with it already?
Yeah, man, I'm going to Australia today, you know.
Australia? Oh, to go Australia already?
Yeah, New Zealand, yeah, man. Try show, sell out, man. Murder, man.
Bongo man go to?
They'll never come. I don't know. I never come.
How a Bongo I deal with? Bongo man, you play on big album and no go? Eh? It look like him not a passport again, you know.
No, man, I want passport, man.
His passport run out of Cuba.
Yeah.
Anyway, a good album here, brethren.
Yeah, man.
I love it and we will continue to play
it. Yeah, man. Well, yeah, man, like you play it, probably get a lot more Jamaican kind to see how it sounds like and try and get a copy, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it really sound nice still.
No, man, it sound good, man. Believe you me. If them say me no back loser, and I'll tell you, it go go on with that thing.
Yeah, man.
All right, give thanks, brethren.
All right, Muta, yeah.
Yeah, me I tell you, man, it go, hey, Bongo man. Bongo man never go Australia, Rasta. Big show Australia with this album, and never, with Cuban and Jamaican artists on stage, and do them kind of reggae, and them never did it. This is the cutting edge, trust me. Sweet. So, we did I tell you about a thing a while ago, where we disturbed it for talk to Sly. Havana meets Kingston, that's what the name of the CD. Him said it's not released yet, but it's released in Australia. And VP, I go put it out. Okay, so here we are now. And I talk to Christian listeners. You know, occasionally we do these things. We talk to specific group. And this argument is for the specific group of Christian. Now, we did I say that according to the Bible, Jesus supposed to enter the tomb 3 days and 3 nights. That is what him tell the man them, because the man them ask him, what shall be the sign? And him say, no sign now, okay, you know. I don't give no sign, you know, but guess what? You remember when Jonah did enter the belly of the fish, them say a whale for 3 days and 3 nights. I see him with the Son of Man, I go stay. Lie in a tomb for 3 days and 3 nights. All right now, I want you to listen to me carefully and show you, say, if you keep repeating something continuously, people start to accept it without really questioning it. and people who read the Bible and regurgitate it, repeat these things. It's like when a man tell you about 3 wise men. Nowhere in the Bible tell you about no 3 wise men. Nowhere in the Bible tell you about 3 wise men. But because people keep repeating it, when you ask somebody, them say it's in the Bible. And they've never seen that in the Bible yet. No. According to the Bible, him start to go, him going at the tomb in the evening. In the evening of the Friday. I can't where them I say it now. Right? Him go to the evening of the Friday. And then him wake up back just as the sun are going to come up. Sunday. What me say? According to the book, where most people are going to turn to now because Easter come. Well, not most people, because really bun and cheese is the other of the damn party and all them something. But for those of you who are devoted, if the Bible they tell you say, him go lie there like Jonah in the whale belly for 3 days and 3 nights, you know say you can't think for yourself say between Friday evening and Sunday morning is not 3 days and 3 nights. You can't think about that. You can't look into it. If a man tell you 3 days and 3 nights, he might show you say, well, a day will come pass and then the night, another day will come pass and then the night, and the next day will come pass and then the night. And according to what them tell you, say, them put him in there Friday evening, and then him raise up Sunday morning when the woman reached there. She see the stone them move. And she said, they have taken my Lord. They have taken my Lord. Now, who's selling you that? Who's selling you that? Who's selling you the idea that this Leonardo da Vinci picture, that is the most popular Leonardo da Vinci picture that can be identified as a Leonardo da Vinci painting, where 12, 13 man sit down around a table. And this is supposed to represent the Last Supper. This have nothing to do with supposedly what is in the Bible. It has nothing to do with what is supposed to be in the Christian Bible. Because the Jews, them, celebrate the same Passover. Them celebrate the Passover. And we did repeat that, we did say that 2 weeks ago. And this come now like we are done the program in that church service. But we have to say it because it's a different perspective. And we are look on it. We have cover all angles. We have to look at now. Because the black people we are talking about now, because black people believe in this thing more than white people. Seriously, black people believe in these stories more than white people. If you look at where we are going in Africa you know, and look at going in Europe, most European countries left that now and gone. The most progressive countries them in Europe, with less crime, less church, economically stable. Them left that and gone. And now we see Britain left it too. But black people now hold on upon it now because some black people that say black people things and black people things and black people things. It have nothing to do with black people. It have something to do with Greco-Roman ideas printed in a book and given to us and call it say a God word. No. If the Bible, when the Jews them hold on upon and say, when some man tell you, say, look here now, we're going to pass something named death are going to pass through, and how you going to pass over the Israelites, them house, is to take the blood of some animal and wipe it upon the door them. That's when death pass through, it will know, say, well, it's not for going there so and kill nobody. And anybody door, whether you use Jews, whether you use Israelite or not, if you don't have under blood there, by your house, it'll go kill, you're go dead. And then now, after that, he's going to take you and take past you over one sea we call the Red Sea. And that must be a sign unto all of Israel that no matter what happens anywhere on the day, we have to celebrate this Passover. The Passover represent when spring stand up in a way as for now. Christian black people, after reading this over and over and over again, I've never sat down to really figure out, say, something wrong with the day where them celebrate your Easter. It have nothing to do. Nothing. Nothing. We keep repeating it. It has nothing to do with any man who lived 2,000 years ago. It has nothing to do with it. It come out of these people who control their mind, control their ability to think for itself. Them keep regurgitating the same old madness and stupidness. And when somebody like me come now and I show, say, not go so, you just say, I'm a madman. Because them don't read that, them grandfather don't read that, them grandparents don't read that. So who is me? What authority I have to declare, say, these stories is fabrication? The authority that I have to say that these stories fabrication is my brains. My brains. And them they teach me to read. And I did read. And I realized there's something wrong with the story. Because meanwhile them knows that the story wrong, them add other things upon the story to catch your eye and catch your picnic them. Just like them do with Christmas. Them couldn't just tell the lie and done because them know say there's a time when somebody will come and some group of people will come and say this not go so. So them want to catch the children, them know till them make rabbit with egg, bun and cheese, all these things. If you now move your way from the essence of where the story is supposed to be, the mythological language that's supposed to be define your thinking, you move from it and start to talk about bun and cheese, you start to talk about egg, and then the commercialization again of it becomes the main issue, the main serious issue. Most young people don't not going to no church to celebrate no Easter. They're going to party. Friday, as Good Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and see them now, men and people roam other than the next day upon it Monday. Other than the next day upon it Monday, because it falls upon a Sunday and they don't want the people them now say use them Sunday for celebrate nothing. Them to put it upon a Monday that you can continue go to your party. And then them just get tricked because right now the people them are celebrate party Sunday, party Friday, party Saturday, party Sunday, party Monday. Because it never start out on the right foot. If it start out with a premise that is wrong, you're not going to end up with something that is right. The premise can be wrong in the beginning and right in the end. Nothing don't go so. There's no law of logic to that. And if you expect to get a different result, it's crazy. And for hundreds of years, it continue. And now we see the African, them a take it like this for them thing. Them a celebrate all the European holidays where the European them a move away from. And it's a serious thing. You look at Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, all of these countries where celebrate the English language especially the English language. Them so steep and deep into this craziness. That's why we can't find ourselves. We lost in the rugged cross and the heavenly hosts. We are blow trumpet in the sky. We lost. Them cripple with mentality, cripple with understanding, cripple with knowing. Friday evening to Sunday morning is not 3 days and 3 nights. I dare anybody to come tell me say something goes so. Friday evening to Sunday morning is not 3 days and 3 nights. And that is what them tell you, say, he must go in at the tomb from Friday when the sun go down till Sunday when the sun rises. It's not 3 days and 3 nights, that yet still them have him, I say, with him own words. If you look at them old Bible, you see it in a red. Anything what Jesus say in a red. Them tell you, say, him say, when the disciples them ask him about sign and anything, him tell them, say, look here, Jonah want to read about in the belly of the fish, big fish. We don't know what kind of fish that hold a man in there for 3 days and 3 nights. All them story there. We not think, all them story there. People take them think they're literal. A man sit down in a whale, a fish belly for 3 days and 3 nights. That's a God can't do anything. And them say, he was in there 3 days and 3 nights. Or we come to grips with this story because you see, if the premise is wrong in the beginning, it can't right in the end, you know. If the premise is wrong in the beginning, it's not going to go right in the end. So if these stories, who's supposed to be, where the Bible is supposed to be the word of God, if these things start out on the wrong foot, it can't right on the next foot. It's just simple. If you buy a pair of shoes and you buy a pair of size 11 and you have a size 7 foot and you put on the size 7 foot, one of the 11 foot on the left hand foot and it don't fit, the other foot not going to fit. It's used that you go try on the other foot. It's used that you go try it on. You can't go in a store and go buy a shoe size 11 and your foot is size 7 and you go home and put on one of the foot them on 1 foot, and when you look and say, right, the shoes are big, you know, and then you say, I wonder if the other type foot are going to fit me. It's not going to fit you. You start out wrong already, it's not going to end up right. I'm going to buy a next one. I carry back the shoes and make them change it. Nobody wants to recognize that there's something that was given to us as African people. And them give it, and it not fitting. But we are trying to make it fit. We are trying to cut off a foot to make the shoes fit. You can't cut off your shoes to make the foot. You can't cut off your foot to make the shoes fit because the shoes is bigger than your foot. So you have to go take some, like how the woman them know take injection now to pad up them bottom and them breast and them thing there. To pad up your foot now to make the shoes fit. It start out bad, it can't go good. If it start out bad, it can't go good long less. So we have to really think now. There are certain simple things that is causing us not to achieve our true divine potential as African people. African people have to relate to divinity in themselves, in them own humanness, humanity. We have to find that divinity that we search for in ourselves as African people. And if we keep regurgitating that old-time talk and those old-time thinking and don't think for ourselves, we're going to just go on, and we just go on and just make white people just control our thinking and just do what them say, like zombies and puppets. But we can't afford to do that because we're our own human. We have a great history and whole heap of guys and whole heap of man die for this and whole heap of woman dead for this. So we can't give up For come say, well, boy, right now, I could not throw in the towel and not say, boy, we not bother. No, because a whole heap of our ancestors died for this. From the first time we left the shores of Ghana and Senegal and Gambia, Nigeria, the first time we left and we're going at them boat there. When we realize that we're not still land again, a whole heap of we jump off of that. And when them dip on the boat and them rape our ancestors, the female them, and when the female them start to realize that them pregnant on the boat and realize it's rape, them get raped. Them jump off of that with them belly and everything and preferably bones in the watery grave than stand up and live as a slave. And some of we know right now, true we not in a ship. And true nobody now. And we can't say we not in a ship neither. The slave ship are terrible because what? 1/3 of the Jamaican population live on land where them call squatter. And if you ever look how Jamaican African people live in a certain area, a certain community, nobody know if live so. Nobody know if live so. Chicken come on my yard and I really want to put them in a cub. I just make them go and run up and down. Bird all over my yard, I will never put them in a cage. We just make them go and fly up and down. And we don't recognize that everyone wants to be free. But free can't be dumb at the same time. Free cannot be dumb. And most of you are look for this dumbness in free and it not going to work. We're not free ourselves from stories that was given to us to make us feel, say, these things is true, and if we don't accept it, there is some little pit in the center of the earth where the whole of it will go down and burn up forever and ever. We can't burn more than how we burn now. We are burned from the Arabs, them go to Africa, and then the Europeans go to Africa. And from then time that we are burned, hundreds of years we are burned. So how much more burn we can burn so? We in a hell. God let them call things that like that now. So how other people can free themselves and recognize that. But what kind how my people them give them story there, you know? When we say my people now, we are talking about how white people look on it. How white people give the world them story there. And when you just do it, we never know the whole world is going to take it so serious. Yeah, we never know how they're going to take it so serious. How they take things so serious. We just write some story to get ourselves out of the madness. But no, we not take it, no, it can't get out of the madness because white man God can't save it from white man oppression. Simple. So all the one them who are Christian now and feel say, God is going to come for you. God come for you where? Where God going to come from? Is them argument that all? God can't come from nowhere from his omnipresent. God is omnipresent. That means he's everywhere. And if he's everywhere, he can come from somewhere. If you say him come from somewhere, it is implying that him is coming to somewhere where him is not, and coming from somewhere where him will not be. That is not omnipresent. Only teach me what is omnipresent at the same place everywhere at the same time. That is what omnipresent is. Using the same place everywhere at the same time. And that is what we're supposed to think in our head, that there's something out there that is everywhere. But yet until the same coming, he's going to come from the sky, he's going to come from this and come from that. And if him come from the sky, that means I'm not long. And if him come long, I'm not in the sky. It's simple. This is the cutting edge on RFM.
This is Onyx, and I want to share a piece that I wrote a few years ago called Immaculate Misconception. Sister J was kind enough to allow me to put this on her page, so here is Immaculate Misconception. From motherland to foreign land, from beaded necklaces to chains, From Africans to Americans, from warriors to slaves, from ritual to religion, from culture to Christ. From my shade to amen, they said Jesus died for our sins. How can we believe their white God died to save our black skin? Knowing they hate us the way that they do, they'd never worship a God they didn't believe hated us too. We choose to worship their God. We worship it more than they do. Yet our ancestors suffered, their masters tortured and beat them, made them bow to their knees and surrender to Jesus. But we don't honor our ancestors for the blood that they shed. We sit in church crying with Christians because Jesus suffered and bled. We don't look to our history for truth. We look to their Bible instead. But it's time for truth to be spoken. Something's got to be said. Something's got to be said. It's time we tear down their lie. Something's got to be said. It's time we do more than survive. Something's got to be said, for it's time we remember we're not African Americans. Blacks, colors, or niggers. We're African people who strayed way too far. We're African people. We deny that we are because flowing like poison, their religion has spread, growing like cancer by our ignorance fed. We've been manipulated, lied to, deceived, and misled to the point that our ancestors' voices are dead. It's time we connect with our ancestors, disconnect their religion. Our ancestors were Africans before they were Christians. Our ancestors were Africans before they were slaves. It's time we start living and thinking the African way. In spite of what we've been taught, it's time to forget what we learned. It's time for truth to be spoken, but for truth to be heard, something's got to be said to cause our thinking to change. Somebody's got to say something. I've got something to say. Before Adam and Eve, before Abel and Cain, long before Noah's Ark, before the floods and the rains, before Abraham, Isaac, Moses, Joseph, and Jacob, before Samson, Delilah, Goliath, and David, before the prodigal son returned to his home, before the children of Israel for 40 years roamed, before resurrection, redemption, rebirth, and religion, before Christians created chaos and division, before a biblical fairy tale was accepted as true, before the Testament old, before a Testament new, there was Osar and Aset, Heteru, Geb, and Sebek, Heru, Seker, Tahudi, Amen, Herikahudi, and Ma'at were the principles guiding our ancestors' lives. Not a religion whose God was hung on a cross left to die. Our ancestors listened to spirit, and by spirit were led. Not by a book trimmed in gold, words of Christ written in red. Our ancestors walked in and lived in a spiritual dimension beyond Jesus Christ's understanding or their God's comprehension. By the time a virgin named Mary gave birth to a Savior named Jesus, our ancestors had constructed the Sphinx and built the pyramids of Egypt. Their white folks stole us and sold us and told us, surrender. They called us unworthy, called us ungodly sinners. They told us our God was a heathen and we practiced a pagan religion. Their God commanded they practice a form of cannibalism. Taking Holy Communion in remembrance of his death, they drank their God's blood. They ate their God's flesh. They arrested innocent women, put them in prison, charged them with crimes they'd never committed. In the name of their pagan religion, they told lies so convincing when they put these women on trial, no one would defend them. These women healed those who were sick before modern medicine existed through a method of healing which we call holistic. Yet these daughters and wives and mothers of children were unjustly tried and unjustly sentenced. And it was the Christians who preached, thou shalt not bear false witness, who falsely accused them and convicted them as witches. It was the Christians who judged them and sentenced them to die. It was Christians who tied them to stakes and burned them alive. It was Christians who said they were evil and followers of Satan. It was the Christians who murdered those women in Salem. And the same Christian who started the witch hunt crusades wrote the Bible they lived by. His name was King James, meaning the God of the Christians allowed his words to be written by hands washed in the blood of innocent women. And in this Bible we trust that never acknowledges us. Not from the first word in Genesis to the last word in Revelations does our Bible mention our people, our history, our nation. Not one chapter, one verse, not one scripture, one sentence. So how could their God have created Africans in his image? Because if their Bible is true, Africans never existed. Their Bible says by his power, Jesus raised up the dead. Their Bible says by his power, 5,000 people were fed. Their Bible says by his power, Jesus turned water to wine. He healed those who were crippled, gave sight to the blind. By his power, he opened deaf ears and the mute may speak. But where does it say by his power, he unshackled our ancestors' feet? Where does it say by his power that he set our ancestors free? Where does it explain why his power still ain't set us free? We're not free as a people because we're still believing their lies. They don't need to shackle our feet. Their religion has shackled our minds. I don't care what you believe. They believe in a God with white skin. And if it's their God that you're serving, it makes no difference to them whether we're saved or we're slaves. It really don't matter. Because in their minds, we're still serving a white man as our master. So if you believe you're a Christian, if you believe John 3:16, if you believe their God is your God and his death set you free, then why did your God perform miracles to free the children of Israel, never even attempted to free your African people? Why did your God curse the Egyptians and take their riches away and let the Christians get wealthy, selling your ancestors as slaves? If their God, who's your God, loved you so much he died, then explain this to me. Tell me why your God freed the children of Israel from slavery by killing all the firstborn Egyptians. But when your ancestors were in bondage, enslaved by the Christians, when Christian hands locked their shackles, when Christian hands held the keys, why didn't your God kill their firstborn to set your ancestors free? And if hanging Jesus on a cross was to save you and me, who are our ancestors saving as they hung from the trees? If Jesus saved us by suffering in hell for 3 days and 3 nights, who are our ancestors saving by suffering each day of their life? If beating Jesus with a whip was to save us from sin, who are our ancestors saving as whips to open their skin? Who are our great-grandmothers saving as they were raped and violated? Who are our great-grandfathers saving as they were stripped and castrated? Why were our ancestors tortured? Why were our ancestors slaves? They suffered far more than Jesus, but not even themselves could they save. So how can we, as their descendants, spit in our ancestors' face by serving a God who ignored them as they screamed for his mercy and grace? How can we, as their descendants, call Christians our sisters and brothers when they snatched our African babies out of the arms of our African mothers? How can we as their descendants bow down and give praise to the God of a people who stole our language, our name, stole our culture, our heritage, our spirit, our will, then in our face shoved their Bible and told us thou shalt not steal? How can we as their descendants, the God of our ancestors, reject, but give our glory and honor and praise and respect to a cross they burned as they slipped ropes around our ancestors' necks? How can we as their descendants believe Christianity could save us when the Christians who preached it were the ones who enslaved?
Yeah, this is the Culture Edge on IRFM. We're there with you. We want you to all the people in England and listen to me, you know. Hey, we're there on the radio in England there. Well, this week, you know, 7th of April. Keep that in mind, you know, the 7th of April. We're going to there, you know. Yes. Okay. You know, so we'll try to get Omar. And when I get him, so I don't know. Tomorrow, the last time we have to get him, so we're going to try tomorrow still. All right. So we're there with part now. Pat Clark. That's over there. Pat Clark. Jamaica Roots and Culture.
Welcome to Jamaican Roots and Culture. I'm Pat Clark. Jamaica's unique culture has shaped the creative play of children from generation to generation. Our oral tradition formed an integral part of the games that children played. Many of the games involved singing and rhythm. Jamaica's cultural icon, Louise Bennett, depicts this perfectly. Children these days are not often exposed to the traditional games that were played by their parents and foreparents in Jamaica long ago. Back in those days, children in rural Jamaica would make their own fun. They would play with toys that they made themselves. Traditionally, there were various games and toys which were exclusive to boys. The boys made carts from board and used their creativity to make steering wheels. Bottle caps of all sorts would be used to decorate the carts, and of course, the sound effects were as varied as the boys driving the carts. They used drink boxes to make trucks and used cotton reels to make wheels for trucks. The typical country boy used coconut palm boughs as cricket bats, and balls would be made from plastic bags and bottles belted up together in the shape of a ball. The coconut boughs were also used to make carts, and children would take turns in dragging each other up and down the yard. Boys made guns by using bamboo and inserting rose apple or pear seeds for use as bullets. These guns were known as pop-shot guns. Boys would also use slingshots to catch birds. Back then, they were called catapults or bingy. Boys also enjoyed playing marbles with games such as lick it, take it. Great effort went into the game, as the boy who hit the most marbles would be able to win the prized marbles of their competitors. Additionally, boys used to play with gigs, also known as tops. These were made from board with a bit of nail for the spinning. The gigs were often very colorful, and the boys would take pride in showing their skills in spinning the gigs. The gig which spent the longest time spinning was the gig of choice. Bottle caps could also be used to make gigs, and thumbtacks were attached as the spinning device. Football was another favorite game for boys, and if they did not have a ball, they would use drink boxes stuffed with cloth, trash, and bags to make balls. Boys were also exposed to board games such as Ludo, popularly known as Ludi, which is a dice game played on a colorful board. The older boys also played dominoes and card games. For those who lived near the river, boats were made from a variety of objects that could float, including coconut barks, leaves, and boxes. There were also many varieties of paper boats. At Easter time, kite flying was the craze, and the kites were major productions. They were made using a variety of material, including bamboo, paper, plastic bags, and even palms. The tails were made from bits and pieces of cloth. For Jamaican Roots and Culture, I'm Pat Clark.
Yes, them days there. Marble and cricket play different. Okay, so we there, so. Magma out of Bermuda, you know, them say if you speak something continuously and it is a lie, eventually a lot of people go and believe it is true. So that is one of the things where them use against we. One of the weapons. The greatest weapon in the hands of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. Those sayings is serious sayings. Greatest weapon in the hands of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. So that is what them feed with. Them keep feeding with over and over and over. It's like an idiot song where you keep hearing on the radio continuously. You start to find something that where you say, you know, that tune is nice, I never ever check. Says really, at the same tune you did hear the first time and it never sound good. And then say certain things in night where you never like. But true, you keep hearing it. That is the power of your call repetitiveness. Where you repeat the same thing over and over. It resonates in your consciousness. Resonate. That is why advertisement is so powerful. Big companies use advertisement because them study, them sit down in our rooms. You have men who just sit down in our room just to figure out how to get in your psyche. How them go and use the power of the media to get in your psyche to the point where you have to buy them product. Even if the product not good. Even if the product not good. And for how much years now? Years, hundreds, thousands of years. We hear about this. You know that I just say a while ago. God wiped out all the firstborn in Egypt to save some people named Jews. There's about 1 million of them. Wipe out all the firstborn. We never do nothing. We don't have nothing to do with nothing. But just to prove a point. God murdered all the firstborn children in Egypt. To prove a point, say, him want fear of let go the children of Israel. And look how much millions of Africans dead. Millions of Africa dead and it's still dying. Where is that deliberate persecution against the oppressors for free and liberate African people? Yet still, him commit that grievous murder against Egyptians. This time is worse than that time. We need this God. But we know say it's fable and it's fiction. And it's we have to go save ourselves. Because if the God save the Israelites them, him not going to save we as African people. Not going to save we. This is the Coaching Edge time. It's 2 minutes past 12 o'clock. To the very last drop, eh? All right, so we want to play this. Some reasoning with some people I saw. Black people, white people, brown people who don't believe in a certain things. You understand? Listen.
Someone who bases everything on reason has faith in the reasoning process. What's wrong with saying that? Why can't you say, I have confidence in reason, I have faith in reason, I trust in the reasoning process? You won't say that because it will reveal that both our positions are faith positions. If you ask me why I believe in the Bible and I flip open the Bible and show you a verse, you say you're appealing to what you need to prove. If I ask you, why do you believe in reason, and give me a reason, then you open your book, open the reason, and you give me a reason.
No, you're making a huge leap. I say that the Bible, like the Quran and like the Torah, is man-made, not God-made. It's a human-made literary accretion full of plagiarism, contradiction, fragmentation, and so on. It's like every other book ever written. And there is nothing divine about it, and the appeal to it saying, I can trump anything you say because here's God's word on the page, is a contemptible way of arguing.
I wrote a logic textbook. Does that make logic man-made?
Logic is man-made, yes. Yeah.
So there's no reason to follow it then?
No.
If I reject Bible because it's man-made.
Logic is the attempt by humans to make sense. It isn't a divine endowment that we possess. Same with philosophy. Philosophy means the love of wisdom. We don't say it's the revelation by... You say what you have is revealed. Now, here's the way of clarifying the difference between us. Somebody asked earlier. I don't claim to know more than I can. Everything I've said this evening, I've backed by assertions, evidence, argument. Douglas Wilson, who's just as modest and friendly and tender a chap as I am, says, yeah, but I have an advantage over Christopher, because I know what God wants, and I know what he says in his book. I have access to higher authority. Now, what I want you, I'll ask him, but I don't care. I've asked him before. You have to ask him. How does he know that? And by what right does he claim to know the mind of God? And if you were a serious spiritual person, wouldn't you think it was a bit much that someone said? They could come before you and tell you what God wanted? As long as they don't call it modesty, I don't mind. As long as they don't call it humility, I don't mind. But I don't like being told that my arguments aren't as good as his because he has divine information that's withheld from me.
Now, first of all, it's the same God, okay? God of Islam and God of the Old Testament. It's the same. Allah is the same as the God of the... It's the same. So hold that aside for the moment. Hold that aside. What he did not know is that of all stars that have names, 2/3 of them have Arabic star names, okay? Now, I don't think that's the point he wanted to make. I think he didn't quite get that. And so, here they go. I mean, it just goes on and on and on and on. Not all stars have names, but 2/3 of those that do have names have Arabic names. There we go. Okay? There they go. And you might say, well, how did this come to pass? Where did that come from? What was going on? Because when you think of the Middle East now, and it's not where you're not saying, hey, these are folks naming stars. You go back 1,000 years, Islam, 800 to 1100. In that period, which is generally called the golden age of Islam, of Islamic science, golden age, there was no greater golden age in the history of the world before or after. When you look at the sum of advances that came out of that period in Baghdad, Algebra was invented in that period. Algebra is itself an Arabic word. Algorithm is an Arabic word. Our numerals are Arabic numerals. You ever wonder why? You ever stop and think why they're called Arabic numerals? In that period, mathematics took great leaps and bounds. Agriculture, engineering, medicine, navigation. Star maps were made to assist navigation. Astrolabes were crafted. Then it all stopped. It ended. If you're a historian, typically you focus on history as marked by changes of kings and leaders and wars. That's the lens through which many historians look at the past. And so if you ask people, they'll say, oh, the Mongols sacked Baghdad, and so that's why it all ended. If that were the only force operating, then later, when the Islamic culture rose, you would still see this tradition of scientific innovation. But it has not recovered. It has not come back at all compared to what was going on in that 300 years. And what you do is you read the writings of Al-Ghazali, who is a Muslim cleric, and he was to Islam what St. Augustine was to Christianity. What he did was he taught you how to be a good Muslim. He taught you how to read the Quran and how to obey the commands. Because back then, people were just interpreting it for themselves. He came along, he was an academic scholar. He interpreted the Quran. He said, this is how you must do it. First has social influence, and then political and cultural influence. And basically, his interpretation took over. And in that interpretation, it included the perspective that the manipulation of numbers is the work of the devil. This cuts the kneecaps out of any mathematical advances that would unfold. Math is the language of the universe. If you take that out of your personal equation, you no longer contribute to the advance of human understanding of that universe. And that absence of Muslim presence in the frontier of science persists to this day. Take a look at the Nobel Prize from 1900 to 2010. I can do this for the Jews, for example. How many Jews in the world? There's like 15 million tops. 15 million out of 7 billion people. These are the numbers of Jews who have won the Nobel Prize in the sciences. 25% of the Nobel Prizes. We have a Jewish person in the audience. Congratulations. Okay, fine. Okay. This is rightly something to be extraordinarily proud of. The traditions of Jews in the 20th century is one of education and scholarship. In earlier centuries, it was one of very strict sort of study of the Torah. Did not involve the natural world. This was a later emergence of the Jewish culture to exhibit this. Let's look at the numbers for Islam. So these are Jews. There are 15 million Jews, 25% of the Nobel Prizes. There's 1.3 billion Muslims in the world. These are the numbers. 2.5. Okay, I'll give you 3 if you really want to include economics as a full number there. Okay? If you got to give it a full number, okay. Now, for me, by the way, you can analyze this in any number of ways. There are 50 times the number of Nobel Prizes, 1/80th the population. There's 4,000 times the impact. I lose sleep at night with the question, how many secrets of the universe lay undiscovered because 1.3 billion people who in an ancestral time would have participated in this enterprise and are now not.
All right, so I could explain what Bridget just start about, because it's very interesting that when Relia says that when Islam was at its peak of knowledge. They were contributing to the science them, when it was at its peak, when it was in the golden age. 1,000 years ago, it was peaking in science. And one clerk come and tell the people them say, after reading the Quran and things, him come with this idea that numbers is of the devil, and that put a full stop on the advancement of Islamic scientific exploration then, as we want to call it, into delving into maths, the science, cosmology, and all these things. And him footnote and him say the Jews, in the time when their emphasis was on studying the Torah, they were not contributing anything to the science them. But now, I'm sure that the Jews them in advance in them thinking and now move from just basically studying the Torah has become the chief winners of the Nobel Prize in science, while the Islamic world, that was once the major, 1,000 years ago, was the major scientific explorers as it relates to advancement. Because now they are now into numbers is evil. The exploration of the science dwindle to the only have two of them. So 25% to 2% is really something else. What that is saying is, and we look on it now in the modern days now, come up here so right now, where the countries them in Europe that is less religious is more advanced in human development. And when I just talk about, just materialism or materialistic, we are talking about crime, we are talking about preservation of the human self. If you look upon the countries them now that is advancing, where there's less crime, less poverty, them is less religious. Them is less religious. And look at the countries them now that hold on to religion. And you see them suffering more. That's why we keep saying over and over in this program and the program where we're having the day. If you look upon when a so-called natural disaster hit a poor country, it's the people them who is more religious get the biggest lick. Them feel it the most. And when them lose what them have, them still insist. Forgot to know the same entity that destroy them life is the same entity now them go to say, you know best why you do these things. How can you destroy, how can some entity destroy your life and destroy and kill all your picnic them sometime? And then you turn and say, this entity, this thing, know best. We have to rethink those ideas, these so-called ideas where people have about this so-called God where them pray to. There's no logical explanation, and people want to say, you don't know the mind of God. But Christians say, if I talk about God, them say, you don't know the mind of God, so you must try even up yourself with God. But guess what? He might tell you the mind of God continuously every day. The ridiculousness of it is that the same man we call wicked is the same man we prosper. is not the man that we are kill him wife and a beat him wife. The man where prosper is the man where him had the God church, him sit down on him veranda and read him newspaper. And when him sick, him can't afford to go to the doctor. Him can't afford to send him children them to school to get a better education. Him surrounding is not dirty. Him know how to pick up the garbage and put it one side and make garbage truck come fit or carry it and go dump it himself. Him can afford food on him table. And him is less religious. You don't see him in a church every Sunday. Yet still, the man who you say, I go to church every Sunday, and I give passing him money, 10% time him wages. And I pray this for that happen, and pray this for that happen. Him I pray for win lottery. That is how frivolous it become. Him I pray for, I hope say him can get a brand new cell phone, or him can get him visa for go foreign. That is how frivolous it become. We don't see something wrong. We don't see something wrong with them thinking there. Anyway, I could continue this little clip here. I could continue the clip.
I'm arguing for a certain kind of intolerance. There's no way around that. But it's not the kind of intolerance that gave us the gulag or that would put people in prison for their religious beliefs. I'm arguing for just new rules of conversation. We can call it conversational intolerance, where, you know, if I came on your show and said the Holocaust never happened, I would immediately feel pressure from you to justify that claim, or you would marginalize me immediately as someone who just could not be trusted, at least on European history. But if I come on your show and say that I'm in dialogue with the creator of the universe, or if I know a cracker literally becomes the body of Jesus if you say the right Latin words over it, you have to give me a pass. It's taboo to criticize that, and that's really what I'm challenging in my book. Well, there's not sufficient evidence for, certainly not for a personal God, and certainly there's no evidence that he wrote any of our books. And we have to realize that we are in a situation where people are flying planes into our buildings because they think God wrote their book and that they're going to get to paradise by dying in the right circumstances. And it seems to me a point of really exquisite obviousness that the response to this situation cannot be, sorry guys, God wrote our book and you're going to hell for your actions.
You know, I get letters every day that I never got before. And those letters are from kids around the world, and also from people in small towns who tell me, and I'm just so happy I saw this, or I saw The Unbelievers, or I read your book, because I realized I'm not a bad person for asking these questions. I'm not evil. And that is, to me, something I really hadn't appreciated before, that religion has usurped this notion of morality, so that if you just saying, you know, I don't buy it, automatically is equivalent to the saying, I'm not a good person. And that, to me, is the underlying most immoral aspect of religion. It tries to have a monopoly on morality and ethics. What it does is it makes people feel guilty for thinking for themselves, and I can attest to that from just the vast and every single day. I'm amazed at that, and I hadn't appreciated that as an evil before I actually started getting labeled and people wrote to me. So they did a further study, and they questioned people who were claimed the Christian box. They said, do you believe in the virgin birth? Do you believe in transubstantiation? Do you believe this? No. Why do you call yourself Christian? Because I like to think of myself as a good person. And I think most people call themselves Christians because they think if they don't, they'll be labeled as bad people.
What is the greatest misperception that exists in the public mind about atheism?
Oh, there's lots of them. I would say the greatest misconception about atheism is that we're not nice people. I think that a lot of people think that morality comes from religion. Religion teaches that. Morality comes from religion. And therefore, if you don't have religion, you don't have morality. So I think the greatest misconception of atheism is that we're not nice and or immoral, which, of course, cannot be the case. It cannot be the case because all the data combats that. The population of people who are non-religious in this country, depending on your polls, goes somewhere between 15 and 30%. the population of atheists or non-religious people in federal prisons is 0.07%. 0.07 of 1%. So the amount of people, the amount of atheists who are committing crimes is tiny compared to the amount of atheists out there. On the other hand, if you look at it from a morality perspective, from an outside perspective, you can see what's happening. People change churches for a reason. They change churches because they don't agree with the church they're in. If they don't agree with the church they're in, so they say, okay, well, this church isn't doing something, it's not striking my moral fancy. I'm going to go to this church over here because it does. Well, that means morality is independent of religion. And then what they do is they go to this church over here that says, okay, your morality is correct, and God says so. And then they say, God gives me my morality, right? And it's kind of backwards, but that's how it works. The reality is that every single human picks their own morality. Morality is relative. And everybody picks it. Everybody chooses it. The only difference between an atheist and a theist is that an atheist will internalize it and say, this is my morality. And a theist will say, this is my morality because I get it from my religion.
Do you give people who make this case that was the beginning and that there had to be something that provoked the beginning, do you give them an A at least for trying to reconcile faith and reason?
I don't think they're reconcilable.
What do you mean?
Well, so let me say that differently. All
people who make this case that was the beginning and that there had to be something that provoked the beginning, do you give them an A at least for trying to reconcile faith and reason?
I don't think they're reconcilable.
What do you mean?
Well, so let me say that differently. All efforts that have been invested by brilliant people of the past have failed at that exercise. They just fail. And so the track record is so poor that going forward I have essentially zero confidence, near zero confidence, that there will be fruitful things to emerge from the effort to reconcile them. So, for example, if you knew nothing about science and you read, say, the Bible, the Old Testament, which in Genesis is an account of nature. That's what that is. And I said to you, give me your description of the natural world based only on this. You would say the world was created in 6 days and that stars are just little points of light, much lesser than the sun. And in fact, they can fall out of the sky, right? Because that's what happens during the Revelation. One of the signs that the second coming is that the stars will fall out of the sky and land on Earth. So to even write that means you don't know what those things are. You have no concept of what the actual universe is. So everybody who tried to make proclamations about the physical universe based on Bible passages got the wrong answer. So what happened was, when science discovers things and you want to stay religious, or you want to continue to believe that the Bible is unerring, what you would do is, you would say, well, let me go back to the Bible and reinterpret it. Then you'd say things like, oh, they didn't really mean that literally, they meant that figuratively. So this whole sort of reinterpretation of how figurative the poetic passages of the Bible are came after science showed that this is not how things unfolded. And so the educated religious people are perfectly fine with that. It's the fundamentalists who want to say that the Bible is the literal truth of God, and want to see the Bible as a science textbook, who are knocking on the science doors of the schools trying to put that content in the science. Enlightened religious people are not behaving that way. They're saying, yes, science is cool, we're good with that, and use the Bible to get your spiritual enlightenment and your emotional fulfillment.
Islam is not a religion of peace, and I woke up to the facts on the 11th of September 2001. Perhaps I should have woken up to the facts earlier, but I admit that I did that then at that time. Talking to people of my faith, Islam, and my friends, and discussing with them, I remember all kinds of fallacious arguments, but I remember one consistent thing, and that was to exempt Islam from any criticism. It was culture. It wasn't Islam. But a religion is born in a culture. And if that culture is not peaceful, then that religion is not peaceful. I was told it's politics. We've heard it tonight many times. It's not the religion. But Islam not only has a pious dimension, but it also has a political dimension, a complex system of laws, a political philosophy on how society should be organized. And if you look at that political system, it's anything but peaceful. What emancipated me from the order to submit my will completely to Allah, which in practice means the concentration of power in the hands of a few, was to learn to think critically, the Enlightenment. Vote against this motion and open up the flows of Islam for debate in order that Muslims, those who are not yet emancipated, may take charge of their own reason, of their own faculty. Vote against the motion that Islam is a religion of peace, and toss that fallacy into the trash can of history. Thank you.
Thank you. I am Hussein Ali.
All right. 1,000 years ago, the intellectual center of the world was Baghdad. Baghdad. Europe was busy disemboweling heretics at the time. Baghdad was open to all thought at the time, between AD 800 and 1100, around there. If you look at the advances that unfolded in that period, in that location, it includes the invention of algebra. Algebra is an Arabic word. Algorithm is an Arabic word. 2/3 of the stars in the night sky that have names have Arabic names. How does that happen? Where did the naming rights come from? It came from the fact that at that time, huge advances in the Middle East, in Baghdad in particular, was unfolded in engineering, mathematics, especially mathematics, astronomy, navigation, physiology. And you say, well, why is that so? If you look at what was going on, they were open to all lines of thought. Jews, Muslims, Christians. There were doubters back then. Today we would call them atheists. They would all come around a table and share ideas. If you have some philosophy that's got holes in it, someone's going to find it. And you're going to challenge you on those ideas. And what happens is the conversation ratchets up. You discard what doesn't work and you keep what does. And when you do that, you make discoveries, and you make discoveries rapidly. And at the time, that period drew to a close. If you read history books, they'll typically describe sort of the sacking of Baghdad. It was a bad time for the city. And they say, oh, it all came to an end. However, the Islamic culture rose at other times later. And in those other times, science and engineering discoveries were not a part of it. So he asked, why not? You got the cultural heritage, why doesn't it show up again? And then you got to dig a little deeper from the sacking of Baghdad, and you find out there was a Muslim cleric, Al-Ghazali was his name, who was to Islam what St. Augustine was to Christianity. St. Augustine kind of laid out the rules for how to be a good Christian at the time. A lot of people were practicing it in their own way. He codified it. He was a religious scholar, figured it out according to his own read, told everybody how to behave. There's the book. You follow this, you're a good Christian. Al-Ghazali said, you follow this, you're a good Muslim. In that text included the assertion, which gained influence socially, but then politically, so then it had power of influence. In there was the assertion that mathematics and the manipulation of numbers was the work of the devil. The entire enterprise collapsed and never recovered. It has not recovered since. If you look at the number of Muslims who have won the Nobel Prize in the sciences, it's 1. Number of Jews who have won the Nobel Prize, 1/4 of all Nobel Prizes in science have been won by Jews. How many Muslims in the world? 1.3 billion. How many Jews in the world? 15 million tops. So you look at what effect the culture of discovery and learning can have on what you discover about the natural world. It's extraordinary.
I'm going to start off with a thought experiment. Imagine you're a hominid on the plains of Africa 3.5 million years ago. You're a tiny little Australopithecine afarensis, little brain. Your name is Lucy. Thank you. A lot of people in the Midwest don't get that. Evolution? What? Not that, Lucy. The other one. And you hear a rustle in the grass. Is it a dangerous predator, or is it just the wind? If you think that the rustle in the grass is a dangerous predator, and it turns out it's just the wind, you've made a type 1 error in cognition. A false positive. You thought the wind was connected to something, and it wasn't. A was connected to B, and it wasn't. So that's a false positive, but that's relatively harmless. But if you think that the rustle in the grass is just the wind, and it turns out it's a dangerous predator, you're lunch. Congratulations, you've just been given a Darwin Award for taking yourself out of the gene pool early before reproducing. And we are the descendants of those who are most likely to make type 1 errors, false positives, versus type 2 errors, false negatives. That is to say, why can't you just stay in the grass and collect enough data to get the answer right? And the answer is that predators don't wait around for prey animals to collect more data. That's why they stalk and sneak up on their prey animals, so they can't get enough data. So we evolved the propensity to make snap decisions and make one kind of error more likely than another kind of error. And that kind of error, that false positive, that's superstition. That's magical thinking. That's assuming A is connected to B. It's a true pattern, and it isn't, and you're wrong. That's the basis of finding false patterns like God's. Now, what's the difference between the wind and a dangerous predator? The wind is an inanimate force. A dangerous predator is an intentional agent. And his intention is to eat me, and that can't be good. So what we also do, in addition to finding these meaningful patterns, is infuse in them agency. That is, it's alive, it's real, it has intention, and its intention is not good, so I better assume it's real. And this is the basis of animism and spiritism and polytheism and monotheism and the belief in angels and aliens and demons and spirits and poltergeists and gods. Gods are invisible agents who run the world, who control things, who create these patterns, who are these patterns that we use to explain things. All cultures everywhere in the world have created God beliefs. Gods with these intentional that are intentional agents.
Fundamentalists have actually read the books, and they're right about them. These books are every bit as intolerant, every bit as divisive as the Osama bin Ladens of the world or the Jerry Falwells of the world suggest. I'm not necessarily equating the two of them in moral terms. Once we dignify those claims, we are really hostage to their contents. I mean, the creator of the universe does hate homosexuals. If you read the Bible, at the very least, homosexual men, gay sex, is an abomination. It is spelled out in Leviticus. This edict is ramified in Romans. You can take Jesus in half his moods and get some really beautiful ethical precepts like the Golden Rule. But Jesus also said things like in Luke 19, anyone who doesn't want me to reign over him, bring him before me and slay him before me. Okay? I guarantee you that the inquisitors of the Middle Ages, who were burning heretics alive for 5 solid centuries, they had read the whole New Testament. They had read the Sermon on the Mount. They found some way to square their behavior with the ministry of Jesus.
Think about this. If life was designed, functional complexity of the cell is amazing. The eye is amazing. Look at it. Like if you saw a watch on the floor, how did it get there? It had to have a designer. Because your premise is that functional complexity cannot spontaneously, all by itself, come into existence. It had to be designed by, a watch is probably designed by a company and has a history of trial and error and multiple designers, many of whom are dead, let's say. But in any event, you say, how did that get there? It had to be designed by something even more complex, more fascinating. Anything that is complex enough to define like a watch or a human being or an eyeball has to be at least as complex or more complex than it. If it is true, Think about this. This is very important in my migration away from faith. If it is true that functional complexity requires a designer, then the mind of a God also requires a designer. Isn't the mind of a God beautiful? Doesn't it function? Isn't it complex? Doesn't he have desires? Doesn't he have plans? Isn't he this amazing big, is he just a big blob of random nothingness, or is he an amazingly organized genius of a beautiful, wise being up there? That complexity, by the argument of design, also would require a designer. If it doesn't, then throw away your argument. You're just believing by faith. The design argument either stands or it doesn't. So you can't invoke a designer to explain complexity who's more complex than the thing that it designed. That's circular reasoning. That's called begging the question. What you're doing is you're just explaining one mystery with another mystery.
Yeah, this is the cutting edge on RFM there with you. All right, now we're going to open the floodgate. You know, so I'm afraid for, I want to let me just go and do me, I open the floodgate, you know, because the floodgate sometimes want to wash me away, you know. And a whole heap of things from up at the top of the stream come wash down for me. But I guess I have to do it. Operator, open the flood. That's so funny. All right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, yes, Mutabaruka.
As I said, open the floodgate. I see the red light come on. Anyway, what happened?
Yeah. Just big you up as usual, dog.
Mm-hmm.
We have to give thanks to the work we are going with, you know what I mean?
Give thanks.
I have to give thanks to the work we are going because it is very important. You know, some of the callers, them are calling, I have to big up man did go see him where.
All right.
See him in little input there. So
I want to say, maybe I try call and you up on the line too.
So I'm not going to take up in time.
I don't know. No. That's it. Call them time I usually call.
You know. But the thing what me I see is how them people see them people give them people get award. They make special awards for best tourism minister and best this and best that. You know what I mean? And it still not benefit the people in Jamaica. You know what I mean? So them give them some awards to make them feel so them do a good job. You know, even though them do a good job for the people, I'm gonna give them the award. Even in the tourism sector, it now benefit the little man in Jamaica.
But them go a good award for them do good for the hotel them. And the airline.
The master them.
And the airline.
You know, them I reap the reward because if you are dealing with tourism, you have to deal with the culture of the people. You know what I mean? We should say you are dealing with tourism. You should have people in Jamaica have a regular man and make a money off of the tourism.
Yeah, well, them have this thing on name. Where you make the tourists them sit down at the hotel the whole time. Them stay 2 weeks and them not walk outside at all.
Yeah, understand.
All inclusive.
That's not a benefit.
No.
The tourism is supposed to advertise our culture. You understand?
People don't want to go amongst the culture.
A man should have a house, a room, and a yard and rent it to somebody.
Yeah.
I rent it to somebody and make a money off of it. So you don't know, so you try to help the world, the population in general.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
So them people don't want nothing, you know what I mean? And again, never lick the education system again, because the education system is just set up for make helpers for the next man. You understand?
Well, them make the educated come uphold the same system where keep down them mother and father, uncle and granny.
And them not educate youth them for critical analysis.
No thinking, no.
Nobody not think nothing. Me talk from the university go right down to K1.
Yeah, man.
The education system designed for kill creative thinking.
Yes.
You know what I mean? If you're an independent thinker, them don't like them don't want
that. You have to follow the pattern.
Yeah. You have to follow the pattern to instill, for keep the thing going.
Stay on track.
You know, but we have to know them things because there's no way you can have a country where you say I deal with development and you not try encourage some of the culture of the country. Because last week I listened to your program when you and your wife are talking about the pudding man there. And I said, wow, look at the people that kill out the pudding man there. You know? You think say you could a kilo, you go come out there so and say them are dealing towards him and them are get out the same little local people. Them are show off them culture, you have to learn to show off your culture.
Yeah man, of course, you know that make tourism interesting, man. But yeah, I tell a man say anytime I go a certain place, you know, I spend most of my anytime I go to Africa and most of the time I spend my time in a market there, you know.
Yeah.
If you want to know the culture of the people, I'm going to the market where the people them are.
Yeah.
Go to Coronation Market.
Talk about all inclusive. I just think I trick the people and say they go to Jamaica. Cause you don't really go to Jamaica when you come to Jamaica.
You go to America,
when you have Kentucky and Burger King.
Yeah, and see them white people where you live in America, you come sit down beside the pool. You're there beside the pool and on the beach with them.
Joker business that.
Joker.
You know what I mean? I will need to revolutionize the education system and change the education system, or else we're going to always have the same thing. We have to find a way to incorporate the love of the land of Jamaica in the education system.
Yeah.
Every man in them youth in this country, them have to say a pledge. Them pledge allegiance to this country. So we have to make the youth them of Jamaica do that too.
Yeah.
Because we have a nice pledge for school. When I go to school, I used to remember it.
Yeah.
I don't know them youth know nothing about it.
No,
it's important.
Some people don't know the second. People don't know the second verse of the national anthem. Because every time them sing it, the first one them sing sit down.
You know, like you see, word power and sound motor is very important because that around the world, you know, all them do give a punchline for you run with. And the people run down with it and never understand and I do what them always, what them never know so them I do.
Yeah.
You know, them just do it and you become normal, you know.
Normal.
A couple of years ago, you do a lecture where say when we become them, you know. Yeah. And from that time, they have a wicked respect for you. So.
They're not true, man. You know, so we have become them.
We
can't separate me and them. We don't know we and them are going to work it out.
You understand? But before I left, I got to big up some people in East Kingston there, you know?
All right.
All of the Star, Fireball, and, you know, like me say, Fish Tea family, I go and big up still, you know, Beater. Hold on out in the East Kingston, go on all the thing and make we find a unity and find a way to love ourselves. Because we have to know, so guess what? Anything will happen to the next man can happen to it. You know what I mean? Yeah, if he's rich, we can rich. And if he must suffer, we have to feel him pain too, because we can get that pain the same way.
Give thanks,
so big up yourself, Mutabaruka. Yeah.
I want to remind the people them that this Friday, Bad Friday, Rastafari says Bad Friday. And this commemoration will be held Granville, Pittsford, Nyabingi Center, starting from morning till evening. And we will be there. So much things will be happening the whole day. So, for those of you who know, so you can make it. This is an annual thing. We remember the atrocity that was done to the Rastafari movement in 1963. That is 1 year after Jamaica said them get independence. Can't believe that. Yes, cutting edge.
Yes, Smoother.
That is it.
Yeah, man. You know, so I got the light bulb, I turn on like people, them, you know.
What you do, man?
You know, they have the dry and them, and then put a little light bulb and the idea lick you, alright?
Yeah.
You wake up.
Yeah, you have to just, you have to shake your head and say, what? I really true. I saw, what? Yeah, true, you talk.
You that, man. But, hey.
A long time, you know, you're fine, you know.
That's true, man. But,
where you go? Farm work?
I'm just there farm foods here, but
thinking of farm work.
I'll be here for a while. You know, I listen to a couple of programs them still, you know, I catch all of them. I guess I have to go over to YouTube. I have to do like my brethren. My brethren down New York at the airport. I tell him, I have to hear more Patrick, where I say. Because I'm the person man a long time, I don't hear from Muta.
Oh, you say that too?
I'm listening religiously, man. When I talk to him in a week, I'm the depend week before last program, and then him say, well, I must fast forward to last week. And me not tell him about, you know, the call that I went upon last week one.
Yeah.
In the brethren that I talk about the big man them are Ray.
Yeah.
You know. But like a little piece that she just done.
Who that?
Right?
Who that?
But with the culture kind of part that while ago.
Oh yeah, but they used to think them we used to do in a little while.
Yeah, man. But if I all the music we used to make, we want like a musical instrument. Them use coconut bone and certain coconut farm and make a little fee them and certain.
Yeah, and candles can for make guitar and all them something.
All them things there and pumpkin stem to make to blow. Make music like trumpet and everything.
Like trumpet, yeah.
Yeah, man.
Well, if I teach you could have said still, but you don't know 5
yeah,
minutes.
it was a true time constraint, you know. But the whole Pabodas, them are mostly when rain fall, they run them down.
Yeah, man. Remember down at James Street Gully, man. Oh, gosh, man.
You see.
So
but,
tell me something. You added to the program?
If who, me?
Yeah, a while ago.
Earlier. Yeah, you know, so what happened to me now, you see? I'm going to lay down early. I'm going to wake up and I hear it. I turn on the radio and left it. And I listen, but me kind of, you know how it go. Me I hear it still now, but me hear it play.
You're gone, you know.
But huh?
It not hurt you when you watch all a movie. And right when the good part come, you just doze off. And when you wake up, it gone and you try to go. When the right, you go drop asleep. Oh, when you drop asleep, I don't swear I go on there, so.
Yeah, but some of the things that I hear still, you know, I kind of know them already, but I know some grab there and miss out some little things in there. But I always play back still.
Me that play a collage of certain people like Neil Tyson and very name Hawkins and some Muslim. Some other people also show them different levels why religion to them kind of stay away. Even the Islamic data there, which I say, you know, Islam is really a violent religion because it comes out of a violent culture. You know, so it's like these things is something we should think upon.
As with anything, you know, are the people who are perpetuated. Some choose to make it violent and some choose to make it peaceful. You understand? And all of them violent.
Yeah.
You know, but it left to the interpretation. That is the thing with our like no interpretation, did it?
You will have to tell you, if you read the Old Testament, no interpretation or there, you know. God is
no,
terrible thing.
But from then switch to the Jesus thing.
Yeah.
In our Christianity, from then switch to the Jesus thing, interpretation.
Yeah, that is interpretation. Because mostly
faith business and all that.
Yeah. Philosophical mindset.
I mean, you never talk about the firstborn. You see?
Yeah.
I don't remember one of the famous firstborn, then fling him away. And run out Hagar with Ishmael, you know.
Yes.
Run him away. Understand? So, you know, the guys are calling run away. I mean, so I saw them do the first. But you see the firstborn thing there with Egypt. When they talk about, because like you say, what they are. If him omnipresent and everything, why you need them for mark post we know which part in people?
Yeah, we're supposed to know which part for go, man.
Yeah, but you don't know what happened with that day. They say, you know, I just Moses, them are going to do for them little terrorism business, you know. God don't know. So the terrorism start, you know. Yeah. And him and them in choose some man who are going to go kill the people, you know.
Yeah,
because confusion. Because, you know, so if they do that now, it disrupt the Egyptian, them know them confused and them in a them grief, so then get to slide out and sneak out in people, them we must sneak out.
Yeah.
You know, see. Because in the Bible, I guess them I say like about 6 million in care out, but nothing ain't go so, or 600,000, no matter where you go, but nothing ain't go so. The word when they translate to the big money, it did mean clan too. It was translated. So in care out 600 family. You understand? And them thing they call, you can't have no 600,000 people however left from one place and come out. And no man can follow them trail.
One time.
So in have 600 family and some go so, and he say meet me over so. And so and
but not only that, them have him turn up on a mountain, attack to make us say 600,000 people. Without microphone.
It was strong.
Oh, what are them hear him at the time? I mean, really.
Yeah, well, I got good voice and I got good eyesight too. but I see him when they go up on Mount Nebo, when you're Mount Nebo, and go look and come back down and tell him, say God show him where, and he name out the place them. And said that for them land from in all perpetuity. And that cast the war. To this day, it cast the war down Gaza. You know, Gaza, you know. Because them say God give them the land.
The land
and they want to
kill
kill out all of the black man and Canaanites.
And the Canaanites
so,
land.
Liar and thief and everything. Because when them left Egypt, you know, when say God tell them, say all of the people who I work with, who are working in every household, for borrow the jewelry from the Egyptian them.
Yeah.
All of them jewelry and them pretty clothes. And when we left and spoil the Egyptian them. And rob out the Egyptian them and go with the all of them.
But every other thing too, because even when Joshua and them people they invade people country, God not tell them to kill off everybody and take the woman them for themselves, man.
But only black nation them. Black nation them are wipe out, you know.
So
and all them say, when them say Christian I say God love everybody and love this and that, then how come when them give them, when them tell Iran what to do, when if you build the tabernacle, the wet name they were put in the Ark of the Covenant and all that. When he say, you know, no flat nose, big lip people in there. That in the Bible. You know, want them, nobody with blemish, no hunchback, no cripple. So they say God love cripple and he love everybody.
People need
no, no them not go in there. Inside, they don't want nobody with blemish.
I want the people see them thing they do in the Bible. I mean, like, because we are talking about it, I know it might come like some, where them get them foolishness from, and it's really in there.
When me talk to them when I walk on the road and I bother me and me talk to them, then them say nothing go so that in the Bible. Sometimes I can't remember where some scripture and I never really when take note of them for convince people. I never used to, since we start listening to you, me start discuss them with people. But some of them I forget them because a long time now, me just read if you try convince myself which way to go.
Yeah.
And from me, see them say I want me doubt and want me know some is off. I never want to discuss religion and politics with nobody for appear. They hold fast to them views and you know. Dogmatic, so I don't want no argument.
Them get vicious to you too.
Because me always ask them, you know, to tell me which part, I'm saying, create the world in 7 days. Well, them say 6. But me know me read the way and say, finishing work on the 7th day. So finish your work on the 7th day, that means you do little work up on the 7th day. But anyway, within them 6 days or 7 days, me not see no way in the way we create hell. So how hell come about?
That me I say too.
I never create it, and I create everything. Not even Satan even creating that 7 days there.
Satan is a newcomer in the thing.
We don't in a Job in coming in the Bible, speaking the Bible. When that at the time of the exile, during the exile, them they ask you, and I just don't go back up on Zoroaster.
But the Jew them never believe in a opposite to God. The Jews them believe say, anytime them do something wrong, God will punish them. And like they will have famine and disaster. They must say God bring it down upon them. Christian them do something wrong and disaster, them say the devil do it.
And you know, say, and the same thing they perpetuate to today. Because when time pass and I rape the woman them in a church and them do nothing bad to them, them feel say, them do something, make the person do that to them, make God make the person do that to them.
As you talk about it, I want to play something about some pastor in Nigeria, I want to do the people them. I want to play something, I'm glad you mentioned that, you know, to play that. It's you make a one. So that you mentioned it, I just remember, I wonder if I can find it, but it's a serious thing. It's a serious thing, these people. Them start to allot certain anthropomorphic ideas to this supernatural God.
I notice, if they don't notice every attribute where they give him attributes a man.
A man, of course, jealous God.
God then can't go no further. Like they say, you can't go in the mind of God, like you say. Although them try to tell you what God say all the time and what God think. But you can, if they hold a God like that, you can't go in the mind and do.
Oh, yeah, we're going then. Oh, can they,
So
I make a part, the part can't question how me make it.
You can't tell them where you know, where your little mind can conceive. So that's why them they say heaven open, so because them couldn't conceive, some man would have reached up past the cloud them.
Then again, the man said, the people did believe, say, the stars are going people still believe that the stars are going to fall upon the sky in the latter days. It means that the man who write it never know what it was.
No, because if one of them stars even come near the earth gone.
You know, there's some people that talk about the world flat and I say the sun are 4,000 miles from the earth.
But we don't know how they get them. None of them are there years how them believe really say the earth is flat.
It's just another way for us get ignorant and stupid.
I mean,
you have black people that follow it too.
Right, I tell you. Because you must can look, use the common sense and see when there are eclipse. You know, say the shadow of the earth I go up on the moon or I go up on and things. So you must say around the earth round.
Them not use the,
well, you know, fully round. But
you have some people where if you look on all YouTube and hear them talk about, you know. If you listen to what them are saying, them sound intelligent, you know. And the way you really analyze what them are saying, but you say, but wait. But them things don't make no sense, Rasta. Because you now start to put part where you are thinking to where them are saying and realize that what them are saying don't make no sense. You know, that's
but I want to tell them, all who you know I listen, what I think about I said the sun, because them I say some of them still I said the same flat earth, them I say the sun the earth stand still and the sun I go around. Because how come you see the sun and move across the earth? I want them to stand up under the light bulb, up in the roof ceiling. And just spin around, you know, like when you look up at me, I spin around till you're taunted. Spin, look up on the light bulb and spin around and see if you don't see the light bulb move. You see the light bulb, if you spin to the right, you'll see the light bulb move to the left. And if you spin to the left, you'll see the light bulb move to the right.
You ever sit down in a bus? You ever sit down in a bus to the next bus, beside the next bus, and one bus, the bus will move and it feel like you are move?
Yeah. You stand still. A stop sign. And you want to see a push brake.
I tell you, hey, you know what time me take, when them call it Not So Express, you see? And them always park beside one another, you know. And you see when the other bus are move, it come like you are move.
Yes, man. Yeah.
We still get an Amtrak train already, you know. An Amtrak train park beside one another, and when the Amtrak train beside me are moving, you know, I check the way, now the train are moving, I see people still are coming on the train.
And you're not feeling it.
Is that similar thing though, you know?
Top man.
Is that similar thing, man? Give the illusion, say, it's you are move, when it's really something over there, so I move.
Yeah. Yeah, but you're supposed to can't see, because if you drive still where you look on something weird, so you come towards it and then you see fly past you. Yeah. And it not move. The tree not move, but it fly past you. So why then can't wrap their mind around the concept, say, the sun the one place and the earth, because the earth has spin on the
because man have to come up with, hey, it's mostly Christian-minded people think those ways, you know, we say no other planet, not the sky, not planet, no Mars, not there and all them, something like that. I want to tell you, a brethren come, one market where we go every Saturday, and a brethren come to me and tell me, say, there is no, him say there's no, when them call him satellite, him say no satellite up in the sky.
He would like know how much up there.
Wait, no. Someone say, where you at, brethren? Him say, it's a conspiracy. Someone say, tell me something now. What is it that the Chinese, the Americans, the Russians, the Indians, the British and all of these people, who are them conspiring against to tell the whole world to them have satellite up there? Coming know about conspiracy where the Russians have said something against the Japanese and the Japanese have said something against the Chinese and the Chinese have. But for all of these powerful nations come together now, for who them conspire against, we tell you say satellite up in the sky. The man has almost nearly draw a crowd there in a Rasta.
But at the same, and him can bet him at the same man that tell us say, all of them, the people in the Bible, how the world them conspire to say Jesus and do this and do that and that. The man tell us nothing couldn't go, so much people couldn't conspire.
And that may I say.
You understand? And at the same time, bet you want GPS phone.
No. Team reasoning, the brethren reasoning, you know, is not satellites govern the television communication and all these things. It's wires. Where they on the earth do it. And yeah, you have people, if you look on the internet, you know, brethren, trust me, it have a thing to carry away, you know, if you look on the internet, you know, and see certain conversation where people are having, you know, to prove to you. So what is real is unreal now, you know, what is unreal now become real, you know. Or when a man I tell you, say, boy, right now, no satellite up in the sky, a people, a conspiracy that. I mean, I say, but wait, what you say? Oh, you mean a satellite in the sky? You can't see satellite through, watch out, you have a planetarium, I mean.
Better that, I'm going to time, better get a telescope.
You look through these telescopes. The way you say, no, is that man that deceive me?
You can't use binoculars and see satellite, you know. You can't use binoculars and see satellite, you know.
Brethren, but that man that make you feel like it's Hollywood that trick me. You say, Muta, Hollywood that trick your brethren. You say, what is smart man, you rasta? Hollywood that trick me.
I love talk and want to talk long, but I will give somebody else a chance.
All right, so give thanks.
I know the credit thing goes.
Yeah, give thanks.
So, yes, man, keep it up. And Patrick, we know you all listen.
Are you big brethren that?
All right, man. Yeah, man, I'm good youth.
All right, the one we are listening all the while.
Yeah, man.
All right.
Lufthansa.
All right, this is a... this is what I supposed to play. This is a serious thing for no say. Europeans pass certain level with them religion. Like the Islamic people, them who are beard people and them things. White people used to do that in Europe years ago. Now we see them move upon the next level now, and black people are all on certain things. I want you to listen to this, you know. What time it is? All right, most people. All right, we can make a listen to this.
People don't want to accept, they don't want to realize that a big mistake can be made smaller if it's shared. It is time for Doom News with Kate Fovic.
A very good afternoon to you. Exactly 3:30 p.m. Eastern Africa time. Hero Radio 99.0 for a fresh breath of music and Nakuru's most popular radio station. It's time for Dome News with me, Kate Vobic, and I'm calling our pastor who decided to relocate and come to Kenya, but the name of the church will just give you the answer you're looking for.
Hello.
Hello, Pastor.
Praise the living God.
Yeah. Okay, my name is Nancy.
Yes, Nancy. How can I help you?
I got your number from a friend of mine you've helped.
Oh, what the friend did they tell you?
Okay, let me just ask because after discussing this, I'll come to your church.
Oh.
She told me the name of your church, but I can't remember. Kindly remind me the name of the church.
Breast and Honey Harvest Church.
Breast and Honey.
Yeah, Breast and Honey Harvest Church International.
Wait a minute. Breast as a lady's breast, or?
Exactly, because you know the spirit lies in the breast of a lady.
Mm.
Yeah, that is where the spirit of the Lord is always dwelling. Even while you are young.
Okay,
you suckle the breast so that you can get a spiritual fulfilling for you. You can grow. The more you drink, the more you suck the breast, the more you get the fulfilling of the Lord.
Okay. So, Pastor, the name of your church is Breast and Honey Harvest Fellowship International.
Exactly, madam.
Okay. So I have a problem, and I really wanted you to pray for me or tell me the way forward. I was looking for spiritual guidance.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
Let us go ahead, madam.
Okay, I have an issue. I've not been married for a long time, and every time I get connected to a man, the man will have to maybe cut off the relationship when it's just about time.
Oh, the Spirit of the Lord is telling me that there is a big problem in your heart. Madam.
Yes.
All time you go anywhere, you look for men keep on rejecting you.
I don't look for men. I start dating, and when we date, we prepare for
That's
a wedding.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
When you date men, they reject you. Have the spirit of rejection in your heart.
Okay, so how are you going to help me?
What you should come and do, you should try and meet me in my office, and then we suck out that spirit of rejection from your breast or from your heart. Praise the living God.
Okay, you said we remove the what? The spirit of
The
rejection
spirit
from
of
my
rejection
breast.
from your heart. From your heart.
From my heart.
Yeah.
Okay, so when is prayer day?
Prayer day is every Thursday at 4 p.m. at the Tabernacle altar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, do I need to carry anything or what?
Don't carry anything.
Mm.
Just come the way you are and with a little bit of offering, because you know the dwelling place of the Lord is always being made to be full there.
Okay, but the friend who gave me your number told me that when I'm coming for these prayers, I should not put on my bra.
Of course, yes. That's why the church is called. People like you who have the spirit of rejection, you're going to sack off those problems. Yeah?
How are you sucking it? Are you using my breast to suck off the rejection?
The church name speaks more about it. Eh?
Okay, the church name speaks about it. That's Breast and Honey Harvest Youth Fellowship International.
Yeah.
So I want to get one. Why should I come without my bra?
So that we can sack off the spirit of rejection. And you know, the spirit of rejection dwells more so in the breast.
So who is sucking my breast here?
Oh, the pastor does everything. You come for spiritual guidance. They give you whatever you want.
So you're the one who will suck my breast, huh?
Exactly.
For how long?
I'll make her tell you. You just come and then you're going to see how it is going to be.
Okay, is there any place in the Bible that people are told to suck
Don't
breast
refer to the Bible. You just come and then we do this thing, we finish.
No, you know, I'm wondering because all the churches have
No,
been going.
Stop. Wait a minute. You have called to ask. So you just do this. So if you're not comfortable with it, just let it go, because
No.
right
I just
about
wanted
now,
to know. You know, I just wanted to know. I didn't even get your name. Your pastor who?
Pastor Chijioke.
Eh?
Chijioke.
Chijioke.
Yeah.
Pastor Chijioke.
Yes.
From Breast and Honey Harvest Fellowship International.
Yeah.
So on Thursday, tomorrow I come at 4.
Yeah.
You will cast out the rejection spirit through sucking my breast.
Yeah.
So you've been doing that. I understand that your church has only ladies, eh?
Exactly.
Why don't you have men who fellowship in your church?
I say that we leave unto the Lord, oh. We leave that unto the Lord.
When did you come out from Nigeria?
I came because of the calling of Breast and Honey Fellowship International.
Okay, Pastor, whoever you call yourself, Chijioke.
Man of God. Just
My
call me
name
man
is
of
Kate
God.
Vobic. I'm calling you from Hero Radio.
Hey, whoa.
Yes, my name is
Come
Kate
back.
Vobic. I'm calling you from Hero Radio. I'm not Nancy. Okay,
So,
let's just talk about this. Eh?
Do you think you are going to be the first one?
To do what?
To
what?
Oh my God.
To what?
No,
How
you
dare
just-
you call your church Breast and Honey? You
No,
only have
just-
ladies who
just do
fellowship
this.
there.
Mother,
Wait a minute, eh? Your church, the ladies who come there, they
Make
come
I tell you
without,
something.
they
You're
come
not the
without
first one to
bras.
threaten me.
I'm
You're
not
not the
threatening
first
you.
one-
I'm not even
You're not
threatening
the
you.
first one to threaten
Why are you
And I'm
deceiving
not-
people?
I'm not going to stand here and listen to your nonsense.
No, just wait, eh?
I'm not going
Just
to
wait,
listen to your
Pastor.
nonsense.
You call yourself Pastor Chijioke, eh?
No, not man of God.
Okay, whoever, I don't know which God called you, eh?
I'm not standing here listening to your nonsense. Get out
You
of
call
here.
it now. I'm tempted to call this man of God in quotes.
No, I tell you, if that is not funny, that man there, I don't know what else is. I don't know what else is. You know, I should have played that day. No. Hey, this is where I go on in Africa now, though, you know. You have worse than that, you know. You have pastors where I tell the congregation, the woman, they must come at church with panty on, you know. Because, may I tell you, worse than that, what I don't want to say it on the radio. Especially in Nigeria, you know. Because Nigeria have the most church, they could have the most church in the world. 170 million people in Nigeria. The Nigerian them. Oh gosh, man, may I tell you. What a judgment. Believe you. Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, blessed.
Oh,
Peace, Muta. This is Aaron calling from Toronto, Canada.
You listened to something a while ago?
Yeah, I was listening to it.
It's funny. I tell you, Rasta.
Honestly, I've been seeing those kind of stories on the the social media and those things, Yeah. So I wanted to hold a reasoning with you about something that I was been thinking about recently. And I was looking at the water situation, like I know here in Canada, like the water and the piping and stuff, people always say that it's bad,
Yeah.
But I'm thinking about the sewage system, and I was talking with a virgin the other day, and I was saying, even if you look at most of the animals on the earth, I don't really know an animal on land is the washroom in water, And he said, yeah, what about fish and birds? I said, yeah, but they don't really go to the water. The fish are already in there. And maybe if the bird's flying over the water, it might go there. But out of all the land animals I could think of, I didn't understand why it's only humans that go to the water to, use the washroom.
Well, hippopotamus go to water. Hippopotamus go to water, man.
But do they go to the water? Like if they're on land,
alligator go to water. Elephant go to water. Hello?
Well, I don't think they look for, like, you see humans. It's like you have to look for water to use a washroom. Like you can't use a washroom on land. But the elephant in them, I think they can use the washroom anywhere. I don't think they look for the water specifically to say, okay, I'm going to go use the washroom. I think they just do
wait, say that. So what you say again? I don't hear you properly.
Like, okay, you see how animals on land, when they use the washroom, they don't typically look for water to use a washroom. They just do it anywhere. I
hear you now.
You see what I'm saying? And then when you look at humans, every time we're told, now to use the washroom, we have to look for water to really find a place to use a washroom. It doesn't really make sense to me because there's no other animal that does that.
Yeah, well, that don't mean that the other animal don't do it. It makes sense given what we do. It makes sense given what we do. We as an animal, we do acting a different way.
Okay, let me show you how I'm reasoning it too. I know in the like in chemics when they talk about not polluting the water, I feel like that's something, because when you look at all the things they have to do to clean the water, I mean, especially like sewage water, it's kind of like you're polluting it and then you're trying to depollute it
again
to make it clean again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what I feel like. Maybe it's okay to go in the bathroom, maybe in the water here and there, but I feel like it's part of the European system of making water, like blending water with sewage.
Yeah, but you know, the water will fall upon the ground and go to the sea. It evaporates and become the same water again, will fall upon the ground and go to the sea, It's a recycling process going on.
True.
So the water drop from the sky and go upon the earth, and it go into the sea, and the water evaporate from the sea and go up into the sky again, and it keep going on and on and on and on and non-stop. Water will always be here. So, I mean, human being do things according to human being do things that work according to them nature. I don't know.
I see what you're saying. I can't really say that it's wrong because, as I said, I know some animals do it like that, even if they're in the water, like hippos, as you said.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a balance of too much, because I know here
when I think about the toilet water, it's the same water that's coming out of the tap that we're supposed to use to put in our, you know, food, and same water we shower with, and it, you know, it just, I feel like there should be some kind of balance or some kind of separation between. Even if you're saying like rainwater, it's probably more filtered and clean than.
Yeah, well, nature, I say, nature work according to nature. Man just develop certain things based upon nature, you know. You see, he might look upon nature and try copy nature. The computer is a way to copy brains, human brains. You know, certain what you call mechanical things are copy certain insect or animal. You know what I mean? So they might try, them can't do nothing outside of nature still. Everything with upon the earth come from the earth.
Yeah.
You know, it's that thing. Anyway, we have to move to our brethren.
Yeah, give thanks.
Yeah, man, Harry. So, Simone, the outside every way. I tell you. Simone, give thanks. Give thanks for all the one them